And welcome to all new travelers and current villagers. We're going to be reading and going over the most recent Isomara Island update 6.4 that just dropped. These update posts can be long and bloated, so sit back and relax while we go over the updates, changes, and fixes. For those new, welcome! I'm your self-appointed tour guide to the island. The name is Slay. Isomara Island is an ARPG, an art roleplay game currently hosted on the DeviantArt website. The ARPG is about creating and adopting characters which you, in turn, develop their story, personality, and appearance, etc., through prompts, activities, games, and events. You can earn virtual currency and items and shape the future of the island. If you want to learn more, there are links in the down as well as on the screen here. Without further ado though, let's get into the Isomara Island Update 6.4. Now, as with all of our past updates, we always post a journal on the Isomara Index account. That is the official account for the Master's imports and things. And on these journals, you can always see the previous link to the past update, so you can always get a nice, quick refresher on what was previously updated and changed. Otherwise, you can always go back to the past update logs and view all the way back to when we first started updating. Now, when it comes to our current updates for this, recently we updated and overhauled the Iceland Club headquarters. That entire feature has been changed as we weren't seeing enough use to it. We clarified a lot of the text, additional features, and better perks. The idea is that players could keep an Isomara a child without being hampered by the limitations of not being an adult through team perks. So essentially, a lot of things children Isomara just can't do that adults can, and we wanted to fix that. We don't want players pressured to feeling that they have to grow up their Icelings. So, some of the things that changed with the Iceland Club, which, for those who don't know, you can sign up your Icelings to join a team, and when they're on teams, they can go on adventures and earn perks and by being on a team and earning reputation with their team. Teams can be as few as just one Iceling, or as many as, I believe our cap is 20. So firstly, the team joining status. We wanted to clarify that teams can choose to be public, private, or invite only. Invites can only be sent from owners of leaders or lieutenants. Now, reputation. Members can earn reputation for themselves that will contribute to their team's overall rep. Reputation can be earned through various activities, events, and adventures. So now you might see prompts come up that are like, hey, you get these are your base rewards for your prompts. But if you're an Iceling and part of a team, you'll also get additional rep. Just how we're also going to be trying to implement in the future a general experience for prompts. We already have experience implemented for a lot of the classes. Here now we also want to introduce like rep. So basically you can get rep for almost doing anything now, as long as your Iceling is actually in a club. Team grades. There are 3 grades: Scallop, Cowrie, and Murex. As you can tell, we kind of went with the seashell theme, keeping it on brand, right? Teams can move up grades to increase member capacity and earn perks for the whole team. Teams do not need to reach max capacity to advance to the next grade. So, the grades are purely if you want to have that nice little thing of saying, yeah, I'm a Murex team, and also they will bring you additional features, such as you can have more members in your team. You don't have to rank up if you don't want to, but your team will gain additional perks and things, which I do want to go over that a little bit. So, if you're fancy, you go to the Iceland Club page. This has been all updated already, so anything you see in these updates, they have already been made their way over into the official documents and pages and information. So, when we're talking about the team grades, you can go here, and here are the team perk grades. So we have Scallop, Cowrie, and Murex like we stated. So if you increase your team, or if your team leader increases their team grade, you'll gain additional perks. So you can read those here, which those are like increased encounter chances. You'll be able to actually face off and find new encounters, such as imaginary encounters. Kids run wild with their imagination. And you can also, fight them or flight from them and gain perks and drops. So upgrading a team, only good stuff can happen if you upgrade your team, but it's always optional. You don't have to. Teams, when they upgrade, they get more people. So starting teams that start out as Scallop, they can only have at max 5 members of a team. And to rank up to Cowrie, they need 100 reputation total. That's total among all members of their team. And then once they upgrade to Cowrie, they'll have a max population capacity of 15. And then the max for any team, which is a Murex team, can be 30 people. We wanted to make sure that there was a limit, because we didn't want everyone just hopping into, the largest team possible. And we do want people to scour other teams. Feel free to even make their own team. Feel free to actually have a solo team. You can have a solo team that's a Murex grade. We encourage that, honestly. But now back to the update though. So member ranks. Along with team grades, members also have their own kind of grades called ranks. These ranks are Cadet, Major, and General. Members of teams can level up their rank and unlock perks. We have our member ranks. Cadet, Major, and General. They do need SS, so you need seashells to rank up. and you need rep. And they each have their own perks, so that they can explore without adults eventually. So that's one of the features that we wanted to implement, was that, hey, not all Icelanders can do things with adults. So guess what? Now you can. So voyaging, which was seen as kind of dangerous, well, if you're a really well-experienced Iceling on a team, you can then eventually learn how to train and explore without needing another team member or adult, and eventually voyaging as well. Now, team lieutenants. Leaders can now appoint a lieutenant to share leadership permissions. Only one lieutenant can be appointed per team. Lieutenants and leaders will start as a cadet rank, and will need to rep up for perks like any other team member. Now, having a team lieutenant is always optional, but it is helpful and handy if you have your leader might not be always available online to answer things or to update the rankings and the team grades and all that, and just, do other things that maybe leaders need to do. So you have a lieutenant there to help you out and lead. They can promote maybe their own little activities to go together and try to rally up members to go explore with other members of the team. Founding teams. So previously, we only had one founding team. So we had an NPC team run by Gatoire, and we realized that maybe we should have another NPC team. In the club headquarters journal, you'll notice that we actually briefed on how the club started, and they had 3 founding members: Deus, Gatoire, and Parsley. Deus and Gatoire now have their own teams publicly for any members who want to join them. And then Parsley is now going to be running the club headquarters store. For the founding teams, Deus, which is the community Deustrum breed Isomara, now has a public team. We do not have a name for that team yet, so please submit your ideas in the community chatter channel of the Discord. A link to the Discord will also be in the down, and the submissions for those will close on October 21st, when it's no longer the 21st anywhere in the world. The top 5 ideas will be voted on after the idea submissions close, so make sure you join the Discord, throw in your name suggestions, keep them appropriate, keep them, unique and fun. And then the club headquarters store. Parsley, one of the founders, instead of making a team, has opened up shop, which sells stolen goods from other shops for a cheaper price. But only members of teams can purchase items from the ICH shop. So this is a exclusive shop to only people who have Icelings in teams. We changed some of the perks, so there was a perk that was increased chance to encounter small and large companions to increase encounter chance. So all encounters are increased now. We actually have some characters and creatures on the island that can't be companions, and wanted to make sure that, hey, you're a child going out into the wilderness. Even if you're with team members, it's still dangerous. You're going to be running into all sorts of things. Unfortunately, that is the reality of things. You're more dangerous, you're going to be discovering more things to fight or flight from. Let's see, the perfect stick and shellment items are now unlockable recipes via Icelings on a team. Right now, these items can be bought from Time's Taming Tavern, or they can be bought from the ICH shop. However, if you're an Iceling on a team, you will have access to actually craft these. The recipe will be available and you can craft them instead of purchasing them through seashells. The perfect stick is only unlocked for cadet members, and shellment is unlocked for general rank members. Now, we did remove a team perk, which was equipment is shared among all team members. Example, if one Iceling has a stuffed toy equipment, then all Isomara get perks from the stuffed toy. We decided to remove that because it was a little overpowered. It's kind of hard to share a shovel or a toy between, multiple people. So we thought, okay, you know what? This doesn't really encourage people buying from the shop and crafting, so we decided to remove this perk. And then we did remove the requirements of needing at least 3 Icelings to make a team. So a team can now just start with just 1 Iceling. We know there are people who just want to solo play the game, and we totally get that. And that's really it for the Iceling Club Headquarters overhaul. You can read the entire journal, of course, in the link. Next is classes reworks, though. So this is only part 1 of class rework. Classes have been a very difficult thing to balance, because while each of these are very unique, we also want them to make sure that they're all viable and playable. And while we also want people to make sure that they can master all classes, that isn't always prerogative for people. Maybe they just want to master 1 class. So for those who only maybe want to master 1 or 2 classes, we want to at least make sure that the classes are balanced enough to where one isn't too favorable over the others. Now, we're still working on this, and feel free to throw suggestions and feedback in our Discord. For right now, we have a rework to Gatherer class. Their pros have changed. So we rearranged some items. Lemons is now 13. Oranges have been added. This was weird because we actually had an achievement that listed that these were available to be obtained by gatherers, such as Pacings, our shopkeeper, but they weren't. So we added that. That's a fix, not just a change. Let's see, pumpkins have been moved to level 16, sugarcane to 17, and salmon to 18. Essentially, a lot of these little shuffles were just because some items are actually rarer than others. We wanted to make sure that we kind of kept that rarity when it comes to the levels of classes as well. So the craftsman class had some changes with their experience gaining. We increased the any art/literature with the class mentor from 25 to 30 experience. That is basically a change that's all around the board for all classes. We want to make sure you gain more experience for that. And then we changed equipping an equipment item of plus 50 XP can only be done 5 times per ISO to plus 50 experience per unique item equipped. And there's a total of 11 items, which currently allows a craftsman ISO to earn 550 experience instead of the 250, which, from what it was, that's how much you would have only been able to gotten. So this way, there'll be more chances to gain more experience through the use of equipping more equipments. And in case we ever add more equipment items, that means you can even get more than just this current cap of 550. Tamer class pros. We added a lot more pros to the Tamer class because we just found that they were kind of lacking in really good perks and pros. So Tamers are now able to have an additional small companion at level 1. They have a +2 to fight and flight modifier against Humbles, level 3. A +1 additional Queen's Cash Pilfer roll at level 9. This is only the case, of course, with the Journal Queen's Cash game. The Discord Queen's Cash game, that won't work. We don't ask for links to master lists or anything like that. We have added an increase to finding Goom Orbs while exploring. Goom Orbs are a legendary drop and they are very rare, but Tamers have an additional chance to get more Goom Orbs. So that means more Gooms for you guys. And they are also able to have one additional large companion at level 19. Now we did change a level 18 perk from able to have an additional of each small companion to able to have one additional small companion. And we found that having one of each small companion was a bit too much. We moved the increased chance to find Honeycomb from level 3 to 2. And then separated the +5 and flight modifier against Gooms from level 10 to level and moved that to level 11. So for the summary, you can read here the before of what the Tamer class pros used to be, and then the after, which is now what they are. Now, Tamer class experience also got some updates again. We added the any art/literature with the class mentor NPC, which is a +30 all around, and failed encounters. Well, successful encounters do give 120 experience. And we thought, well, you learn from your failures. Everyone should be learning from their failures, so we added that as an additional +10 XP if you fail. And then we changed some things. The level 10 prompt completion, we reduced the experience gain from that from 400 to 300. And then we did remove creating a Goom from Hasha's hut. This follows up with a future thing in this journal, but you'll no longer be able to create Gooms from Hasha. Although she is our dedicated witch doctor, we just didn't really like this as a feature. We changed it over to time, which I'll brief further on, but essentially instead of creating Gooms, you'll be adopting Gooms from Time's Tavern now. For the Connoisseur class, we only have a few changes here. We added a prerequisite of having a higher flight stat than fight stat. And then we removed the background art requirements from the level 10 prompt. The Connoisseur class pros, we added a +2 modifier to all encounter rolls at level 1, and we also gave them the ability to harvest rare exclusive drops from Tormugas upon successful encounters at level 20. Changes are able to find up to 25% more seashells in explorations. We reduced it from 50% to 25%. We did do a lot of testing to make sure that this is fair. This can always be raised in the future, but we think that reducing it from 50 to 25% is a lot better overall for the economy and for the players. We did move the increased chance to find sand dollars from level 12 to 15. Sand dollars are our premium currency, and we wanted to make sure that you had to reach a little bit higher level to gain that perk. We moved gain the ability to find seashells in the mountains from level 20 to 12. And for the Connoisseur class experience, added any art/class mentor NPC. Again, this is just basically adding it to make sure all the classes have this perk. Changes, exploration XP was reduced from 80 to 75 per exploration. Drawn with an equipped tissue crown has been reduced from 10 to 5. Level 10 prompt completion was reduced from 450 XP to 300. And then from crafting golden ring, earrings, silver earrings, etc., all this list of very specific items, we changed that to be just crafting any accessory with gems or gold, which is a +10 experience item. So instead of you just recrafting gold rings and gold earrings and silver earrings at a very low XP per item, now you can basically just craft custom accessories and other official accessories and things, or any items that have to do with gems or gold, and that'll be a nice 10 XP per item. And then we also changed the crafting backpack, pickaxe, shovel, etc. All these fairly specific items of +25 XP per item to crafting any tier 2 or 3 equipment. Now that does mean you don't get experience for crafting mystery and ultra mystery candies or prisma diamonds, as they are not equipment. However, this will allow you to craft multiple things many a times, and you're not limited to just, these 2 or 3 equipments. So like I said previously, there are currently 11 equipment items. Alright, that's all for classes. I know, take a deep breath. We're not done yet. That was just for the updates. New items! We have the shark steak. It's worth the fight, trust me. There are sharks, people can fight them, but now shark steak is an actual item you can get now. It's an extra edible item. And then fur tufts. We know people have talked about, Isomara are very fluffy, furry creatures, as you can tell. Why don't we use the fur for anything? Well, now fur tufts are in the game. Maybe these fur tufts don't just come from Isomara. They also come from boars. They are a rare drop from exploring the forest, mountain, and snow biomes, but they can be gotten from successful boar encounters. And I can tell you that they can be used to craft fabric, equipment, accessories, and more. So you won't be relying just on, tall grass or cotton for things like clothing and fabric and other equipment now. Boar meat. Again, boars are in the game. We added their fur, we added their meat now. And then royal coral. I can't go too much into this. You'll just have to find out what it does later on. It's pretty though. Used as a collector's item, you can still make custom accessories with it. Any item in the game you can use to make custom accessories. Alright, encounters. We added an additional section to include the Iceland Club encounters, as Iceland in teams have the ability to drum up exclusive imaginary encounters. So kids with their crazy active imaginations sometimes will fight imaginary creatures and they will actually get things from them. We make sure to add this to the drop tables. So we have the Stick Demon, the Rock Monster, the Tanglevines, the Bakimora, the Treant, and the Chimera. Now we're in the changes now. Companion creation is now called the Ally Adopt Slip. It's essentially you're going to be getting a little paper. It's a paper item that you can give to time. Adopt a new companion friend. We haven't updated the item art yet, but that will be coming in the future. The bonding certificate is now just called the bond certificate. Then cactus root is now cactus pear. We're being a bit more specific. Accessory coupon is now the finery token, and that has also gotten some new fancy artwork. Coconut shell bra is now coconut plate. Dye removal shampoo is dye removal wash. Incubation quickener is now incubation energizer. And then fish kicker is now kicker toy fish. Fish is now the default design. We plan to implement other designs in the future. The stuffed toy is now the stuffed toy ISO. The pearl for specificity is now the white pearl. Jar is glass jar. And then nest is now normal nest and luminous nest. To avoid confusion for the future, nests made with goo are normal nests, while ones made with ectoplasm are luminous nests. And then item uses. This is just generally from the Iceland Club headquarters store and their items. So Rebel Pebble, we updated the modifiers of fight and flight, and then increased chances to lose the pebble after an encounter roll. Tilted Twig, we changed that from a 3 modifier to fight encounters, to a +1 to flight. They are +3 to flight if companioned. So some of these items can be companions or equipment. Stuffed Toy got some updates. We removed when equipped to an adult Isomara, this item does nothing. Adults can have stuffed animals and maybe they give them comfort. So we changed that from a -5% chance to get frostbite, +10% chance to succeed on fight and flight encounters, and a +1 stacking to trainings, to -5 chance to get frostbite for all adults and Icelings, -10% chance to encounter imaginary enemies, this is for Icelings only, a +5 and flight encounters to Icelings only, and then +1 stacking to trainings, all Icelings. Crafting recipes, we did update these very. Tambourine is now fabric, seashells, we reduced the seashells and we added fabric to the tambourine. The tambourine got new item art. Complex dye, we changed that from 2 simple dye and honey to 1 simple dye and goo or ink. A kicker toy, we did increase the tall grass amount to 20 from the initial 15. Fresh water is now ×4 of snow or ice, instead of ice 10 or snow 2. The reversal dust, we added witch hazel to it. Scrambled eggs now take 2 mimic eggs and a shell or coconut shell. We didn't want to have the sand dollar in the recipe. Well, you wouldn't use your paper money as, a napkin, would you? Cookies. Cookies had 3 separate recipes that were very confusing to players. So we decided, well, why not just make it a flat-out wheat of 7, mimic egg 1, sugarcane, and then we changed it so it's just grape or peanuts of ×10, instead of the 13 grapes, 7 peanuts, or neither. Stuffed toy, we reduced the string amount from 15 to 14. And then nests, we increased the feather count to 25 from 20. Queen's Cache got some changes. We added a variety of items to the drop table, and those are actually already in, so if you've been rolling on the Discord in the past few days, or if you've been asking to get rolls via the Queen's Cache journal, you would have probably maybe have already gotten some of these items. And then we did remove some items from the drop table. We removed lemon, moss, squid. We figured Memoirs probably wouldn't like, the acidic, sour taste of lemons. Moss would probably dry out, and then squid, of course, would probably go bad, or they'd already have it eaten by now. Achievements! Only one change to the achievements, and that's Queen's Cache achievement. So now you get a +5 to normal Memora encounters and +1 to Queen Memora encounters. Originally it was only the normal Memoras, so we added the +1 fight or flight modifier to the Queen. Trainings. We did increase the training limit to include up to 8 Isomara in any training image or story from the 5 originally, and then we did remove, after training once, Icelings can join Gator's team at the Iceland Club. Alright, voyaging. Icelings can do voyaging verification without needing to be on a team, but must be with an adult Isomara. And then Icelings will now be able to participate in the voyaging activity. Icelings can now participate in voyaging if they are of major or general rank in a team. Major rank Icelings can voyage with another Iceling team member or an adult, and then general rank Icelings can voyage without an adult or other team members, so they can go completely solo. But major rank Icelings still need an adult or a team member. And then we have a variety of fixes. So with the rollout of DeviantArt Eclipse way back in the day, a lot of our journal skins broke. We have gone out and fixed a majority of the major glaring issues, such as really giant bolded text and highlighted links, and just general things that just didn't format correctly. We have fixed a lot of that, but again, there are still a lot of older journals that are still affected by some CSS skin issues. While we don't always have the capacity to go through a lot of the old journals that we just don't touch or use anymore, such as old events and contests and things. If you see one that's overly glaring, you're free to drop a mention in our Discord. And then let's see, for fixes, we updated the encounter list in the journal. The roller had already had this updated originally, but this was not reflected in the actual encounter journal. So while we were updating the encounter journal with all the new encounters, this also got updated. So we did replace the sticks for flowers for the humble common drop. Blepper common drop used to be rocks. It's been feathers for quite some time now. The seagull rare drop was replaced for the gold drummy instead of the salmon. Shark encounter drops, we removed Skrill as the common drop. We moved the teeth from uncommon to common. Bone is now an uncommon. And we added Shark Steak as the rare drop, but only if the Isomara is of a level 20 hunter class. Otherwise, the drop is a bone for rare. Again, boars, we also did similar thing where we removed the sticks as the common drop. We removed teeth as an uncommon drop as well. There's just not enough uses for teeth, so we made sure to kind of get that out of the economy not as much. We figured that we were actually producing way too many teeth in the economy for players to use. But let's see, we removed a bone from the rare drop to the uncommon drop. Fur tuft is now the common drop for boars. And then boar meat is now the rare drop. Only if your Isomara is a hunter level 20 can they get the boar meat. Otherwise, the rare drop is a bone still. And then we did combine 2 redundant rules for the Tides Pool and Queen's Cache. I'm not going to read it over. They just were really redundant. They basically stated the same thing. We did switch fight and flight modifiers for the Rebel Pebble and Tilted Twig as they were accidentally swapped in the description in Time's Taming Tavern. And then we have conflicting orange information. So this was briefly mentioned earlier, but oranges were only able to be found through users who had the Scurvy Slayer achievement while in the infected biome. This was a large oversight, as the Exploration Journal described being able to get both oranges and lemons without needing to be a gatherer class, and not even gatherers could find oranges, besides pacings. So this information has been updated, and now gatherers and Isomara with the achievement can find the oranges. And then we have no suggestions or feedback changes at this time. This update was very much a overhaul and rework of a lot of previous systems that we're working through. People are still free to throw suggestions and feedback in the proper Discord channels. Please do. We do read over them quite often in common, and we even leave little emojis to give you an idea of like if we're actually going to use this idea or if we don't like it, or we'll reply. We read everything, we reply to everything, or at least leave an emoji. And then for upcoming work, we have suggestions and feedback, Bubber class rework, and right. Thanks guys for listening in. I hope to see you for the next update. Bye bye!